Hello people of the internet, my name's AJ as usual, and welcome to Eridge Station, which, you know, fairly small, very peaceful, very pretty incidentally, but it's also a bit of a weird station. You see, I'm on one platform, which is where you get regular national rail trains and all that. It's got the dot matrix indicator, it's got the very Jeff Marshall style fluttery bin, although this one's full of rubbish so it's not really fluttering in the breeze. But if you come over here, there's something a bit odd about the other platform. It's about 50 years in the past. That's a bit weird, isn't it? Here, modern day, over there, 1960s. This definitely needs investigating, I think. Which is lucky, because that's exactly what we're going to do. Welcome to the very pretty Spa Valley Railway. The Spa Valley Railway is a heritage railway that at present operates between Tunbridge Wells West and Eridge, with stops along the way at High Rocks, Holt and Groombridge. It's a pretty bucolic line that winds 5 miles through the countryside and across the border between Kent and East Sussex. It's actually pretty close to another heritage line, the Bluebell Railway, and at one time even had a direct connection to East Grinstead, as well as Lewes via Uckfield, Tunbridge Wells Central, Brighton. Yeah, if you can't tell already, this little stretch of line used to connect to lots of very important places and has had quite the history down the years. So you know what that means? Time to deploy the whiteboard! Constructed by the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway in 1866, what is now the Spa Valley Railway originally offered direct trains both to London Victoria to the north and Brighton and Eastbourne on the coast to the south. In 1876, Tunbridge Wells West got a link through to Tunbridge Wells Central Station, the one that's still in use today, via a tunnel, and also had links to East Grinstead and Three Bridges via a junction west of Groombridge, Eastbourne via Hailsham and a line south of Eridge, and Lewes and Newhaven Harbour down south. Through the early 1900s, the line was understandably very busy and very popular, but things quickly took a turn as lines were closed all around it. First went the Eridge to Hailsham branch in 1965, then Groombridge to East Grinstead in 1967, and the Uckfield to Lewes line in 1969. Lots of British railway lines being shut in the 1960s, you say? What a surprise, I've never heard that one before. Well, what wasn't a surprise was the sharp decline in the line's use. Saved from closure itself in 1966, services dried up with no connections available, and the line itself finally shut in 1985. End of story, right? Wrong. The Tunbridge Wells and Eridge Railway Preservation Society, or TWERPS for short, no really that was their name, worked hard to revive the line, and they finally took control in 1994. By 1997, Tunbridge Wells West to Groombridge was brought back into service. By 2005, the line extended back towards Birchton Junction, and in 2011, after lots and lots of hard work, the line returned to the current mainline Eridge station after 26 years. Seriously guys, what an effort! Speaking of Eridge, that's where we start our quest today. And what do you know? There's a train waiting for us. Right, so I'm at Eridge Station, and having gone back in time 50 years just by changing platforms, we're about to get the train to the other end of the line. But I'd probably introduce my special guest for this one, because I've got not one, but two. First, it's the king of B-roll himself, it's Jamie. Hello. This is fun story. You know the really artsy, the cool B-roll footage from the Northern Sea Line episode? That was him. Yeah, that was him. So, yeah. And I feel bad about it because he helped me film 2 pilot episodes for this, which we ended up not doing or putting out. So, third time lucky, Jamie is here. How are you doing? Pretty good. And the other special guest, I know you loved his appearance in the Wherry Lines. Jane, he's back! Dad's back. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you very much.
Yeah. Are you ready to give it a smash?
Yeah, absolutely, and I know what time of day it is.
Hey, nice. It's the afternoon, isn't it?
It is.
It's not the evening. You may be wondering, like, oh, we're on a train at the moment, but this is a funny looking coach, isn't it? Yeah, it's because it's actually a guard's van off what's normally off an old freight train. But it's on the end of a break of coaches, and passengers are allowed to stand in it, so pretty cool, isn't it? The weekend we're visiting the railway is the Summer Diesel Gala, where the home roster of locomotives is joined by special guests, including this beautiful Class 42 warship, D827 Greyhound. The home fleet features lots of locos and units that would have called this part of the country home during their operational days, including my personal favourite, this lovely Class 33 diesel locomotive named after the designer of the Spitfire, R.J. Mitchell. One thing you'll learn quickly is that there's a story at every station on the Spa Valley Railway, and at the headquarters of the line at Tunbridge Wells West, it's astonishing to imagine what used to be here right under our feet. Welcome to Tunbridge Wells West Station. This is kind of the main hub of the Spa Valley Railway, and at present it has one bay platform. It's just through there. You can just see it. There you go. 2 tracks, 1 bay platform. But we're not going to go there yet. We're going to walk over here and we're going to stand in a Sainsbury's car park. Except what I'm actually standing on are the original through lines that used to run through Tunbridge Wells West Station. It used to come straight through here, and if we come over here we find this, the original Tunbridge Wells West station building. That's where the bay platform is, and the only platform for the current station. But back in the day, that used to be a bay platform. There used to be 2 through platforms that ran right along here. You can even see it, look at that. It's all raised up about platform level to get into the entrance of what is now a rather nice American themed restaurant and diner. I have it on good authority, and it is rather nice in there. Anyway, let's head back to the actual Tunbridge Wells West now, shall we? The Grove Tunnel that used to connect the Tunbridge Wells stations can apparently still be found, though we didn't fancy going off to find it on the day. Instead, we got a nice tour of the original loco shed at Tunbridge Wells West, where the current roster are overhauled and maintained, and then we headed down to Groombridge for a spot of lunch. And welcome to the intermediate stop on the line, which is Groombridge Station, which today, on the day we're recording this, having a barbecue. So, have some lunch. No, really, there's really not much else to say about Groombridge Station. Okay, maybe there are a few things. Right, so we're at the Tunbridge Wells West facing end of Groombridge Station, as in if you go up the line that way, that's the way you get back to Tunbridge Wells West. Except the line we've kind of figured out never really went that way. Right there is the actual original station building. We've been doing a bit of detective work along with some of the actually really good like historical pictures and maps and that they have on the stations here. And we've kind of worked out, haven't we, that the line sort of used to go on straight up there, oh hang on, straight there, and then when it shut and all got torn up, they built houses there, so when they had to reinstate the line they had to sort of go round it. We've also sort of figured out that there would have been platforms sort of that side or more that side.
We're standing on an island platform.
We are standing on an island
platform.
Was an island platform.
Yep.
So the other 2.
This cross hatching.
Yep.
Is an after. This wasn't there originally.
Of course, yeah.
The whole line of the track. That's the old goods yard.
Yep, yep. Up there.
The line still obviously went that way.
But it went straight through
They just
where
had
those
to
houses are.
realign it slightly to get round the new builds in the old goods yard.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing on a lot of preserved lines. You have this sort of race to get the thing preserved. A lot of times the line's shut and then they start ripping it up and it's like, no, we want to keep it.
And once it's gone forever.
So some of the preserved lines that have stayed the most original are the ones that literally someone bought up right
Straight
before.
away.
Yeah, as soon as they announced it was closing, we're like, right, we're having that.
That's the one.
This, unfortunately, didn't quite get there, but I think they've done quite well. A lot of intrigue on this line, isn't there?
Where the old platform used to be on that side.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you can. And then up there, just beyond the end of the station as you go to Eridge, is actually an old split where the line, there was an extra line that used to loop off to, is it
Oxted?
But yeah, there is, for such a small station that looks like it's just a sort of intermediate station on a preserved line,
Yeah.
quite a lot of detective work you can do around here. I like it. Where the line to East Grinstead used to branch off can clearly still be seen as you depart Groombridge heading westbound. Imagine if that line could be reopened and the Spa Valley Railway could connect up with the Bluebell Railway. Now there's a nice thought. Mind you, enough hard work has been put in to just get the line back to Eridge, reinstating the old Birchton Junction and operating alongside national rail tracks as far as the station. And perhaps no station on the line sums up the Spa Valley Railway so perfectly as Eridge Station does. Okay, so we're back at Eridge Station now, and it's pretty secluded, I've got to say. It is just 8:05 now. The other 2 have decided to head home, but they're running late trains tonight on the Spa Valley Railway, so I thought I'd stick around and take advantage. It'd be rude not to, really. And while I'm here, I decided to tell you a little bit more about Eridge Station because, like all the stations on the line, it has a pretty unique history, but unlike something like Groombridge, you can kind of tell how this one used to go a little bit easier just looking around. This is the Spa Valley line that comes in on this platform, as is this. That's the sort of bay platform down there. There's a little tank wagon that's just sitting in the platform there, and locos kind of trundling there when they're sort of running around their trains down here. There is actually no link, there's no points or anything between this line and that line there. There's no actual national rail link. They're just right next to each other. You could basically just run over. It's easy enough for passengers to get between the two, between the footbridge at the station, but there's no physical link, which is bizarre, given that you think that would be how they bring guest locos like Greyhound down for this day. No, they have to bring them in by lorries, because reasons. You can kind of see that this very obviously at one time would have been 4 tracks all the way through the station. And if you look at the other end of the station, you can obviously see it going through the other side. There's a little bridge, there's a space through the bridge where, you know, lines could have gone through on either side, on the outside of each platform. Like all the stations on the line, it has a sort of secret history to it. And it's kind of intriguing how some preserved lines kind of are like a frozen moment in time, because as soon as they were closed, someone went, no, we're keeping that open, we're preserving that as is. For a long time, this didn't exist. The terminus of the line was Groombridge. That's how far the trains ran. This, I believe, this connection to Eridge opened in, I want to say 2011, and there's still so much that isn't back. The Spa Valley are putting in so much work to resurrect all, you know, this connection here at Eridge and everything else, rebuild the station at Groombridge, bring that all back. And there's still so much to go. There's that abandoned split just after Groombridge. There's still platforms here that they could run all the way through. There's more lines they could formally connect it up. The sky's kind of the limit for the Spa Valley, and I kind of like that. I like the fact that even though this line technically shut in 1985 originally, a lot of people have had to put a lot of effort into bringing this line back to anywhere close to being an operational railway, let alone what this line used to be. And I think that says a lot for the real spirit of heritage railways and preserved lines in Britain. It's really special that people have gone to this sort of length to preserve what was a line that originally official railway powers, back then it would have been British Rail, decided was surplus to requirements. But someone went, no, they've decided it's surplus to requirements, we haven't. We're going to bring it back, and we're going to use it as a safe haven to run all these other old locomotives that have also been deemed out of date, redundant, surplus to requirements, and were just set to be scrapped at one point. I do like a good preserved railway, and the Spa Valley Railway isn't just a good preserved railway, it's a really, really good preserved railway. I've kind of fallen in love with this place over the last 2 days. With that in mind, I'm going to go get a beer. After a nice pint, or two, it was time to catch my last train back up to Tunbridge Wells. On such a blissful summer's evening in such beautiful surroundings, I can think of nowhere else I'd rather be than right here, right now. Guys, you may or may not have guessed this at this point, but I really, really like trains. That's that. We're back at Tunbridge Wells West for the final time. The warship and the Class 27 have headed off for one final run down to Eridge and back, but unfortunately I've kind of got to get home. And I say unfortunately because I don't want to leave. I love this railway, I really do. I love this railway. It's such a beautiful, it almost feels like a secret. It feels like it's sort of sneaking through. It's tucked next to this Sainsbury's over here, which of course was built on where the original Tunbridge Wells West used to have lines going through and everything, but now it's sort of tucked next to a supermarket and a garden centre, and then Groombridge is kind of rooted around behind some houses and that, and you kind of feel like, sorry, we're just going to move around the back here. And then Eridge is right next to the National Rail Network, and it's just, Spa Valley Railway is, it's special, man. It really is. I like this line a lot. I hope you've enjoyed the first Heritage Line focused episode of Another Station, Another Mile. If you'd like to see more, me going to more Heritage Lines, I'm not going to complain about that. Just leave them down in the comments below which ones you want me to check out. For now, see you later, Spa Valley. I've kind of fallen a bit in love with you. Honestly, this is right up there as one of my favourite Heritage Lines. It's easily top 3. I should stop rambling now and go home. See you guys next time on Another Station, Another Mile.